I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up. Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me. Why you hating on me? It's not adding up.
Welcome to the third installment of SharkLife Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, and we've got
Josh Raia here.
You got your cue that time. And special guest, Josh Schellenberg. All right, hold on, I missed it. I got to get better about this. And Josh Schellenberg. There we go. My bad. The audience was off cue there. It wasn't you this time, Josh.
You need a better sign, you know?
I'm saying once we get sponsored, this program has producer role and all these other things, so we can have somebody who's not as pretty as us on the screen, because obviously there's a reason we're on the screen, because we're pretty. So somebody behind the scenes can be doing the cues and stuff instead of me having to sit here and keep up the conversation and hit the right button. Because if I laughed, if I hit this when I said Josh Schellenberg, then that wouldn't have been right? So we need a producer. Anyways, Josh Schellenberg, everybody. We got it right. So welcome, Josh, to the shit show.
Thank you.
We had a moment getting you set up with your audio and your video.
I think the audio is Coco. That was the audio.
Background.
So for those watching, the bird is no longer in the room. I still have her.
The bird is still, in fact, the word, though.
We just put her in the living room for now. Got to try and have a conversation tonight with the guys and not have Coco in the background laughing at us. That would be great.
A little bit of laughing would be better than what she's doing the last 5 minutes.
Well, that's the whole hey, you move me out of the room I'm used to, so I'm going to scream at you now. And it should have been part of the equation, being that I work with animal behavior for a living, but I just wanted her out of here. And it didn't.
Sometimes you forget.
But how's this? How we doing?
Looking good. I love the mic, man.
That's make a stroke. Yeah, I'm trying to be careful here with you too. There we go. So I sound good. Episode 2, I kind of sounded like shit, so I had to go buy this thing.
Yeah. Smooth. I love it.
We're ready. We talked about a couple things to talk about.
I already forgot about all of them.
I know Vivian was because there was some animal behavior and migratory disruption that we said we could talk about. That was interesting because we talked about Cabo in episode 1 because we had only been back 2 days. Josh Schellenberg. And for my sake, I'm going to call him Shelly many times today because I'm going to keep having to say both their names. So Josh and Josh Schellenberg, it'll be Josh.
Yeah.
Shelly.
But see, if it makes you feel any better, I've only been back for a few days.
That's my point. I was getting there, and he just had to rub it in what are we, 3 minutes and 25 seconds in, and he's already rubbing in the fact that he stayed 3 more years in Cabo than we did.
Wish it was 3 years.
It was... See, isn't it Baja magic? We all feel the same.
Yeah, when you travel somewhere and you're gone for a long time and you have that feeling at some point where you're like, man, I just can't wait to go home, or I'm so ready to go home. It was my last day and I was going to get my COVID test, and I realized, nope, I don't have that feeling. I could stay longer, much longer. So, yeah.
That's a really good point, because that happens to me every time, right? So we go on trips. It's always some point where you're like, I just want to get home and hit my couch for a few minutes, because you kind of miss it. But I never get that with Baja. I always feel like I really wish I had more time.
Yeah, for me, it's always like I can't wait to sleep in my own bed.
Yeah.
Right? Especially like some of the Airbnbs I've stayed at, like some of those beds, like Meg Bay, those beds suck. It's like you might as well be sleeping on the floor.
There's nothing you could do about that. And then I'm stuck sharing a bed with Ryan every time. So it's just two dudes in a twin-size bed is a lot.
Whoa. Let's clarify. We have our own beds. He chooses to push his closer to mine. That's a comfort thing for you, not me.
I think it should be two dudes and a twin.
Whoa, we're going back to
Ryan gets scared.
Shark divers right off riff. That was great. So while you were still in Cabo soaking up the wildlife without us, Josh dropped that bang.
It was so good.
I know. We watched you the whole time. Don't worry. We saw.
Yeah, I couldn't even post half of it, honestly.
No, I believe it. I mean, you guys, it's crazy. So last year, I guess we will cover Cabo quick because we were just there, but last year, it popped off the week before we got there. We were all like, all right, we're going that week next year. Like, and every year we kind of flex on Prime. So that's what I lose. What was Prime season? What was peak season? So we changed it the week earlier. And then the other thing was when the orcas were there last year, which has been more frequent orca sightings this year. So that became irrelevant pretty quick. But last year, it was that last week of February where we're all texting each other like, yo, it's popping off right now. It better be like that. And then we got there and it was shit green. Barely any sharks. It was just not great. So for us to have it the way it was and then you to have it stretch out into that week and just pop off, because as we covered, we didn't have much over our five intended chumming trips, and then I did the white tip reefies on the other one. But out of 5 intentional chumming trips, we only got sharks on 2.
2 dives, I think.
2.
I think it was 2. You guys had the blues and then the one day with the mako.
Yeah, well, the 3 of us were together for the blue shark dive. I mean, we had, it was 5, by the way. I was so, oblivious in the moment. It was 4 at a time at the end, and then the baby that was there before. So I was completely oblivious to that, and somebody else brought it up later, like, no, there was definitely 5 altogether. And then the mako was quick. Like we said, I was grateful for what we got, but it wasn't a lot. It wasn't like February the week before, so you can just never tell. We try to base it off moon cycles and things like that, but you got the full week of action and a small, smooth hammerhead interacting.
Yeah, I think part of it was the day you guys went out for the reef sharks. I think that was the first day I went out without you guys, and we just went a little bit further, and we just stayed longer. And we had 3 blues, I think, that day. 3 blues that day. And then pretty much every day after that, I think the day with the hammerhead was the first day we didn't see a blue shark. Most of those days it was multiple blue sharks. And the day with the hammerhead, it was the one day it was not flat calm, which they've told us before that the hammerheads like the rougher weather. And when Evans found out there was no blues that day, because he wasn't actually with us that day, so he was not the only one that was upset we had a smooth hammerhead. Or you guys were not the only ones that were upset. He was also upset that he was not there that day. He actually had to do they had boat inspections, so he had to be at the dock for that and couldn't go out with us that day. But when he found out there was no blue that day and that the wind the current had switched, the next day he switched where we were going to go, because we had been kind of going to the same area, and then it just popped off again. So whatever he did, wherever he switched us to go to, worked perfectly. So
know in the local area, 9 days out of 10 we got a north current here, but if it flips to south current, we're all like, here we go.
Thanks.
Here we go.
And I have to say, the last day was probably one of the top couple of days that I've ever had there. I think my top day to this, I don't know how it could be beaten, but was the first time we ever went there, and I went there with you, and then I stayed longer. with another group.
Bang.
We started the day with orcas, and then we had, 3 smooth hammerheads, 4 makos, 6 silkies, a Galapagos, a sea turtle. And I don't know how we could ever beat that. But the last day we had a baby humpback putting on a show, breaching nonstop on the way out of the bay. We get to the dive site, and there's sea lions playing with the wrangle bait. So we had to try and get them to stop. A mako shows up.
Males, or were they smaller?
They were really small. So, they could have been either, but they were really small.
Interesting.
And then they just continued to fall asleep and lay on the surface, maybe 20 yards from the boat. Then the big mako showed up. We're in the water with the mako, and 2 of those mobile arrays, but much larger, showed up.
Tropicana.
Okay.
Is that what it is?
We also had those
the
the day
devil
with
rays.
the hammerhead. But so 2 of those showed up in between the mako. They were off in the distance. And then Evans is still on the boat, and Evans yells, "Dolphins!" And so we're like, I look over and I see this pot of dolphins swimming. And I don't know why I thought this, but when I was in Australia, when we were with the sea lions, they said, if you spin and you make noise and you do all this stuff, it makes them more interested. So the first thing I'm thinking is I'm swimming towards these dolphins, is I start whistling and woohooing in my snorkel, and one of them just rolled on its side and looked at me like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
What a dumbass.
And,
what is this?
Yes. And the whole pod just kept swimming, and then this one just turned, came back around, circled, looked at us, and then went off and followed the rest of the pod. But so I don't know if it did it because of me making noise in my snorkel or if it was just curious, but all of that.
A minute, if I saw something as dorky as you swimming at me, I'd give it a second.
Hey, it worked, so I don't care. But yeah, with all of that combined, it was a good last day. So
That's awesome. No, we had fun, but we definitely you went out the day I went for the reef sharks.
Yeah,
You said that, yes. Like I said, we completed it on a high note after the struggle for 3.5 days. But yeah, we saw the action, we watched you, and when we got back, it was crazy to see the how opposite it was for that following week or so. And did you see Brian today? They had a fin whale as well.
Yeah.
So they had work a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah. Oh, you told me about Brian.
Yeah, that sucks.
So Josh Shelley texted me, and Brian, who hangs out with us, does trips with us, was there with Evans and still is, but he went up with his family, staying somewhere a little bit further away from Cabo San Lucas, the Arches, the marina. And
he moved resorts. He was staying in Tesoro, and when his family got there, he moved to a resort that's San Jose, so it's 25 minutes outside of Cabo.
Where they flew into, because then they did La Paz as well. So he kind of did our circle with his family before, coming back down, whatever. So he went up, did that, and then because he was going up to see his family, Evans texted him and said, 15 minutes, I need you at the boat. There's orcas 20 minutes outside the Arches.
Yeah, he said, orcas, call me, or he said, call me now, orcas. And then he messaged me and he told me that Evans told him the boat can only wait for 15 minutes, but the problem is his hotel was 25 minutes from the marina, so the boat went without him.
I saw the photo.
20 minutes outside the marina, and Cabo ended up getting him. So
we missed them by 2 hours, technically, the La Paz Cabo day, our first day diving there. They were down in Cabo, our first dive day, and then our travel day. We just discussed that. It was our travel day. They were eating a humpback calf off of the Arches, and then they weren't seeing it between us. If you had sea lions bathing on the surface, then ain't no orcas around. But they showed up a few days
lucky,
later.
right place, right time.
And to ease your comfort, those sea lions that were laying on the dock, they laid there all 3 weeks I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might just be like a spot they enjoy. I don't know, because I remember you were worried. You saw that and you were like, "Oh fuck, orcas."
Even the locals said it wasn't normal. The locals said normally they retreat out to that main colony rock, and then that was their normal behavior. But when the orcas show up, they just sleep the entire night in the marina. So that was something that they were catching on to, and I thought it was a bad sign as well. But yeah, they did the whole time we were there, and obviously we didn't see orcas.
Right.
Because the whole time we were there was no sea lions on that haul out rock at all. So that was odd, but maybe they were just comfortable on the pier for the day.
But the orcas were there a few days before.
They were.
So,
that makes sense.
We're no pinniped experts, but if I was a sea lion, I ain't going to go back out to that rock for a few days. I'm going to take vacation while the infiltration of killer whales is happening, and we're going to give it a cool down period if I'm a pinniped. I'm not. But if I was, that's exactly where I would be thinking is I'm going to give it a few days for these freaking animals to clear out, or else I'm a dead sea lion. So,
did you see Brad's photo? Apparently he got to swim with them at Pelican Rock.
At the Arches. So he said he went to a spot between Wolf Rock and Pelican Rock, or between Wolf Rock and the Arches?
There's that other... No, but he was telling me, so there's obviously Pelican Rock, and then the Lobo Rock is like a little bit further towards the arch, and then literally right in between those two is just a spit of rock that comes out directly from the wall, and Brad said he was just kind of swimming back and forth along it, which was pretty cool. So he said one of the local guy in the Penga just recommended it to him, and he said it was great. So
another one to hit.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that was there.
I definitely need to take you to
those dive boats hit that like arch area quite often. There's supposed to be like a wreck down there. Yeah.
But were you both with me the first day the whale watch?
Oh, yeah, we went right through it, and it was maybe 20 feet deep, right? And because the water was super clear.
I would like to free dive there if there wasn't so much damn traffic. Get some split shots with the water.
How'd you get the mobulas swimming through, man?
Oh, my God. I'd risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, just have somebody spot you, that's all.
I'm all about it.
I think if you did it early enough in the day, it wouldn't be so bad. It's like that mid-afternoon when all the dive boats are out and all the drinking boats are out that it would be a little on the sketchy side, I think.
Can make it happen at sunrise one day.
I was muted for a second because of the bird. She's having a moment.
Yeah.
We can tell.
But you couldn't tell because I was muted.
You're good. Can't hear you or the bird.
You see what I said, though?
No.
You see my lips moving, but you can't hear the words? I'm deaf! I'm a huge Adam Sandler fan, so I couldn't resist. So, we know you one-upped us in Cabo, so we're going to move on from that now. Moving on from that. Ready? Here we go.
Not bitter or anything.
Very much future delayed. It's like autocorrecting when I get blamed for it not being autocorrect, but it is autocorrect. I'm going to blame these cues for not being on time, even though it's probably me. That was an inadvertent call out to the one who can't spell for shit.
You know, like, you want to give me shit about that, but like, I openly admit that I'm bad at spelling, and you are still in denial about your lack of spelling. And most of the time in our conversations, you misspell words more than I do. And then you're like, oh, it's autocorrect. Autocorrect.
Listen, the first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem, Ryan. And Josh and I are here for you.
Yeah. I'm obviously one step ahead of you. It's okay.
My spelling is just fine. It is my Siri, or who's this? Siri is on the iPhone. I almost said Alexa. It's my Siri who has a problem. She's not as smart as she thinks.
That's called denial.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
You know, a little back history about me. My dad was a crazy alcoholic, and, you know, I remember him saying he was fine quite often before he went into recovery. So I think Josh is, you know, right there. First,
I know how to feel right now. We were like real deep into my father was an alcoholic, and I was like, wow, we're about to get fucking serious right here. And then he's like, so my feelings are really messed up right now. Like, I don't know where to go.
So this might be an intervention for your spelling is kind of what we're getting at.
Ah. Do you guys like have a text chat without me that I should know about?
No, that was ad lib for sure.
It's just like every time we're in a group chat, you make fun of my misspelling, and then you are the one misspelling stuff.
I'm one of many.
Yes,
I'm not alone. See, I get egged on. I don't wake up in the morning and I'm like, let's see what Shelly couldn't spell today. I mean, that's not how I wake up, I promise. But you get Jeff Farrell in a chat with me, and the two of us happen to notice that every other sentence you type has 3 or 4 words that are like...
Well, Jeff would be one to talk with the sea loin.
Yeah. There's a little bit of exaggeration here in the amount of misspelling, but it's okay.
Jeff, we're going to call him Jeff. He's going to end up on the guest list here. Jeff's sitting there one day talking shit about Shelly's. If my point isn't going to be accurate because of the... Like, I wish I could, like, point here and have my finger, like, actually come over on your screen and poke you in the head. Like, I feel like if we were cool enough to do CG, like, we give. Anyways, back to Jeff. He was talking shit about Shelly, and, like, the next day, he posts about a sea lion, but he called it a sea loin. So every one of us got on there, like, all right, Jeff, how did it taste?
I heard they're delicious. The orcas seem to like them a lot. So.
Oh, man. All right.
Me, personally, I'm into a leaner cut of meat, so I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
But this is good. You can do this. This doesn't require any typing, writing, texting. You just talk. We would never know. You're good. I can't make fun of you for that. We got it out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, you always insert the joke, even if I don't misspell anything, so it's fine.
I'll find something. I mean, you can miss
like the victim here.
But you will misspell something, waiting for me to misspell something, so it's fine.
This intervention changed really quick.
It did.
All right, so Bimini. That was where I thought we were going to start. It still says that you're disabled, Josh. I mean, we'll go to that story in a little bit, but it still says your screen is. But I see you clear. You still hear us and see us?
Yeah, everything's fine. Josh is really clear. You're fuzzy, but it's fine.
Yeah, you're a little fuzzy, Ryan, but I can hear you just fine.
That felt
I don't know
like
what you are, but I...
No. Like, your video feed on my end is a little fuzzy, but Josh's is clear.
So being newbies in this, I have figured out that even if it does, because like Josh is a little bit pixelated right now, it comes through fine when I render, so we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think the finished product will be fine. Don't worry about it.
So Bimini, we could review that. So Shelly went with me twice, and we had similar experiences. There was one day that popped off. Yeah, both were very, very similar. The second day on the trip the three of us were on together, though, that popped off. It was one of the same hammerheads and a different one that rotated in rather than the male that was there on the first trip. But either way, we had the two hammerheads at a time. But that's not the conversation to have. The conversation to have is, why aren't there more? Because that's a known aggregation site. There's many individuals that had been even seen up off of West End who made their way down to Bimini as part of the migration. There were different known migratory routes. And now only 3 of the regulars from the past, as of when we were there, were back. And the year before, there were 6. So the question is...
I believe there was more than 6, because I remember we had 6 on one dive. So I think there was more than...
And there was, I remember saying there was a second male who wasn't named or something. We had that conversation. But there were 6 at a time, known sharks, doing what they normally do there. And
that's if we had all of them, right? Like, the other boats that were there could have had 1 or 2 as well. So
true.
How many was there really? I don't know.
Just like,
you know.
So just to have a number of 6 or 7 cut in half, though,
is huge.
When it's a normal thing for these animals. So I'll go right off the bat. My theory is that the water is changing. It's a lot warmer. It doesn't cool off as much. And we've seen migratory changes here. There were silky sharks offshore here in Florida today. That is way early. And it's because the water never cooled off. So we're not seeing a lot of animals. The black tips don't migrate down the way that they used to. And I'll let you guys name the others that are definitely in my mind, but I'm going to stick to this one. But to me, there's already been papers published over the last year or so about the tiger shark staying further north because it's not cooling off as much down here. The water is the right temperature for them further north. So,
I was talking to Chelsea about that actually, and she said that it's not that they're so much staying further north; it's that they're venturing further north. So it's not that they're not coming south to Florida; it's that they're just venturing further north on that end of their migration.
Extending the migration and spending so there'd be less time spent in an area like here, regardless, because of the time it's taking on that migration, which makes sense either way. So for them to show up late is still a possibility, but how late? It's already March.
So, when I talked to Vital in end of January, he said no new hammerheads had shown up since we were there. So, and temperatures had dropped and water had dropped, a lot, I feel like, since we were there at the end of December. He told me personally that he doesn't think it would deter the hammerheads from coming unless it was like, I could look it up, but it was, I want to say like 82-ish. He said that they were at the water temp was at the high end of their preferred range, but it was still like in their realm.
Which makes sense. That's around here.
Yeah. He did say that, in the past, hammerheads have skipped a year. Like 1 or 2 individuals had skipped a year and then, not shown up. And then the following year they'd shown up. So fingers crossed that that next year more of them show up. And that it's not worst case scenario and that a bunch, some of them have been killed off, because we know that some of them spend time in Florida and we know how Florida is with hammerheads. And so I'm really hoping that that's not the case, but they are critically endangered. So we never know.
Yeah, we won't dive into what we know of their migratory route. We know that they pass through Florida because we get great hammerheads, but don't have to elaborate on where they go before they come through here. That can be left up here, but they're not protected in those places either. As soon as they leave Bahamas, they're not protected in any of the rest of their migration, not just Florida. Josh Riley, what are your thoughts on why the hammerheads have been cut in half?
Yeah, so it's tough to try and figure that out just because there's so many potential factors that go into it. I think that the water conditions and temperature that you mentioned before is probably the biggest one. But another one that I know about hammerheads that are, since they're such a sensitive species, they're actually one of the few species of sharks. This is all hammerheads in general, and it comes down to the individual shark. It's really odd. So hammerheads, if they have we'll call it like a bad experience at a certain location, right? So if they get hooked, or if they have a poor interaction with another one of their species or another species of a shark, let's say they're at the the feeding site and like a tiger shark bites them on the tail or something like that, they'll actually abandon that site because it's kind of like a learned behavior, and they won't want to come back. They may come back into the area, but they'll be reluctant to visit that same exact spot again. So whether they were hooked or something happened, they had an interaction with a diver or anybody else that was adverse to them trying to do their thing, they may not return to that spot, which is a bummer for people like us who travel to see them.
That could factor in for an individual or two for sure. And then, so that's 3 possibilities right there. Is a natural predation of something like a tiger shark, or, the combined scenario there with the fishing, recreational fishing, and a hammerhead gets caught and another shark tries to hit it at that point near that area. It's still a semi-natural predation. I mean, it's a weakened animal, depending on a source, with a shark being shark. So, that scenario's there. The water.
Speaking of that, kind of, I almost wonder, so Skilla, I know her as Patches because I first met her at Tiger Beach, right? But we know that she was a Bimini hammerhead first, and then she abandoned Bimini and spent 2 or 3 years in Tiger Beach. I'm not 100% sure on how long it was.
But she still showed Bimini at the end of the season there in each of those years. She
spent 2 years back in Bimini. Yep. Wasn't there this year.
But later.
Wasn't there this year. But one thing that interests me when it was a couple days after you guys left and Chelsea and her friend were on the boat with me, we were talking about sharks and how they were tagging the pregnant tigers at Tiger Beach, right? And they tagged, she's like telling me how they tagged this giant hammerhead, biggest hammerhead she's ever seen. And we ended up talking about it, and I'm like 95% sure it was Queen. And she was at Tiger Beach. She got tagged. They caught her, and they did a workup on her. I don't think they actually tagged her. But then next year, she ends up in Bimini. So maybe that...
The shark.
Are you texting her right now?
I was like, did you tag this shark?
FaceTime you're in.
I think she said they didn't tag it because the hammerheads kind of like the tags don't really work so well. Like they don't surface enough or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
It rubbed them off. Hammerheads are known to rub tags off. They actually come down into the sand and they come down with their dorsal and they literally try to rub them out. So some of the only ones that I've heard of being successful is Bimini Shark Labs people and those doing it around that area. But they are known to try and rub them out. After they get tagged, you actually watch the hammerhead come down into the sand and they'll rub in the sand like this trying to get the tag off.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's probably it. But she showed me, she's got pictures of it. Someone was in the water taking pictures and of this hammerhead next to the boat. And after she was describing how big it was, and that was like the same time I saw that hammerhead at Tiger Beach, and then we knew her as Queen, and then, she ends up in Bimini, and I'm like, I highly doubt that there was 2 hammerheads that were that large at Tiger Beach without divers noticing that there was 2 of them, right?
And rolling into a whole nother conversation, with social media, we would have known if there was other hammerheads besides Scylla and Queen just chilling at Tiger Beach.
Right.
I think we would have heard, and especially with 5 liveaboards there on rotation during peak season and then the individual. I mean,
right. And she was so much larger than Patches. Like there's no way you could mistake one for the other. So
especially in girth. We talked about how she's not as long as Aphrodite, but the width of Queen compared to any other than Gaia. Gaia is a girthy hammerhead as well. But Gaia aside, Queen looks massive next to all of them based on her girth. It's not her, yes, she's longer, but she's wider. She is a big fish.
Mm-hmm. I hear that girth is the most important factor.
Yeah.
We're still talking about sharks. Still talking about sharks, and I think that is a good time to go to a commercial break.
My nickname in college was Girth Brooks.
Girth Brooks.
Oh my gosh. I don't even have a good one off of my head.
We're going to call you Soup Can.
Got a tube of Pringles, man.
Should I stop the record button? Because this is going over my head. I need to Google this.
Soup Can, short
I don't
and
want to
fat.
waste your recording time.
Short and girthy.
Okay. Soup Can would not have been what I would have gone for. Maybe Vienna sausage.
I was talking about those like travel size tubes of Pringles. You know?
And this is part of the shark life. A simple conversation gets turned so quickly.
Derailed. That's my fault. I take full responsibility.
Oh, God. All right. Going to commercial break. We're going to let our sponsors to be talk to you. I'm going to put a bunch of names up and say, hey, pay us. All right. We'll see you soon. We're back. I feel like I wish we wouldn't get sued if we used I almost said Shark Tours.
We can use Shark
Star
Tours.
Wars.
That's allowed.
Star Wars music. Got Shark Tours on the mind. We're going to have a fun day tomorrow. I am.
Oh, yeah, you got, yeah.
Me and Josh are going to work like normal people.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's... And
like 8 years without a real job.
You have a real job.
You.
I have a real job.
Yeah.
You have a more real job than any of us.
Home portion. That's the real part of my job is sitting here doing phone calls, emails, bookings, readjusting the schedule, logistics. Like that's the work portion of my job. Otherwise, I don't have a real job.
Yeah. You know, there's that saying like, do something you love and you won't work a day in your life. And I think that is complete bullshit.
Yeah, that's a bunch of crap, man.
Because I love tattooing. And there's days where I'm like, fuck, I just don't want to go to work today. I love skydiving. And you know what? There was days I just did not want to strap people to the front of me and take them on a skydive, you know? So
that was a good bridge. So for all the DMs for Shelly, asking him how to become a marine biologist and asking him how to become a shark diver. And
that is my most common message.
Wait, your most common. I thought you said method. I was like,
no. Like
most common message.
When new people message me on social media, the most common question I get is, how do I become a shark feeder or how do I become a marine biologist? Both of which I'm neither, so...
Photoshop it.
Yeah.
So Josh is a tattooer, a very, 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 very good one. And we met
2017.
5 years ago. Holy shit. 5 years ago. Whoa.
Yeah.
So anyways, we met 5 years ago, and he was like, hey, I tattoo. Do you want to barter for some trips? And I was like,
Well, that's not how it happened. But.
That was the first thing he said to you? Just walk.
I said I first, but somewhere in the first few hours of us knowing of each other's existence, he made sure that I knew he was a tattooer because he already had in his mind that he was going to be shark diving more. So I replied, of course, with, let's set something up. And
Well,
for
so this
some
is what
reason...
happened. This is what happened. So I started diving in 2016. And at that time, I was terrified of sharks. Funny enough. My buddy Matt, who got me into scuba diving, taught me how to scuba dive, loves sharks. His wife loves sharks. And he was like, you need to go on a shark dive. And I was like, very reluctant. But, your friends call you a pussy, so you're going to try it. Ryan disappeared.
Oop.
He's back.
He's back.
Wrong button. Wrong button. Week 3. Go on. My bad.
And on the last episode, you guys were talking about like scariest moments, right? So I'm on my first shark dive, which was with Emerald, and Josh was the feeder. Yeah, and I'm sitting on this boat, and they're like, first dive we see bull sharks, and so we all know the reputation bull sharks have. So I'm like, getting ready to poop myself a little bit, and here's Josh. He's got a crate full of dead fish, a knife, and a spear gun, and I'm like, what is about to happen?
Underwater Rambo.
We get underwater, and we haven't even made it to 80 feet yet, and he's shot a fish and annihilated it and cut it into little pieces, and I was like, it just got real. And
can we disclaimer real quick? That is not the normal way to do things. It is not the industry norm to spearfish on a shark dive. Let's just disclaimer that right now.
But it is a way to do things.
So
it is a way. It is not the normal way. Let's just get that in the universe right now.
So I remember the bull shark stayed low, and I was kind of shocked and all of that. And so then you do the lemon sharks, and it's a totally different behavior. And it became okay, well, why is this not the way the media made it explained? So I went again, and then I went to go a third time with Matt, and just happened to be, is it Memorial Day that's in May, or is it Labor Day? I always get those two mixed up. Whichever one.
Labor Day.
Because I'm going to Bimini for Labor Day, so it's Memorial Day.
So it's Memorial Day 2017, and the day before Memorial Day, there was a thing that happened. Yeah. And that boat wasn't going to run on Memorial Day because of the thing that happened the day before. Ryan, I think you know what that thing is.
Oh yeah, I know. We're not going to have to travel down that alley.
Yeah, so we were like, oh man, we drove all this way because, I live in Tampa. It's
now everybody's going to be wondering, well, what were they saying? What are they hiding from us?
So I was like, I think I saw on Instagram that there's another boat that does this. That was your boat, Deep Obsession. And so we called you, and you had space. And so we went with you. And it was
old boat. Don't go book there. Old boat.
Old boat.
Original boat, not current boat. The name he said 10 seconds ago. Just a disclaimer.
It's called something different now, though.
Anyway. It's not even the same name anymore, right?
Yeah, it's different now, so don't worry.
Correct. Yeah. That is right. Yeah. That is right. Moving on.
So I had brought a wetsuit that I thought, because I was going to be freezing sitting at 90 feet for 3 dives, and you had us suspended at 30-ish feet, and I was overheating in my wetsuit. And I was like, you know what, I'm getting out. And I remember that day was really slow. There was 10 million fishing boats out. You had gotten out of the water. And we were talking about another individual, and I had mentioned how he doesn't seem to bother me because I went through a tattoo apprenticeship, and, that kind of made me kind of not get bothered by this individual. And you were like, oh, you tattoo? I was like, yeah. And then you were like, we should barter. And I was like, okay. And the rest is history.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
Was it? I've fed a lot of sharks between then and now, so I'll go with it. I'll let you have your thunder. But yeah, since then, those are some of my favorites. They're conversation starters too, which is dope because being that we do what we do, people are like, "Oh, are those shark teeth?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And that always yeah. Normally it's like, well, "What do you do?" Most people say, "Are you a shark fisherman?" And I'm like, "No." And I explain what we do, but they are. So there you go. You completed these for me. I need some more, though. I need some more, so we'll talk about that when we sign off. I'll let you poke me soon.
All right.
All right. You talked me into it. God. Where is that the road we were going down? What did we say we were going to talk about? We ended up in left field. I knew that was going to happen.
I don't know. I think how we met was on there, which we just covered.
Well, that was part of the to-do list, but when we just had our break, we literally just said, we're going to come back and talk about. And we got into...
I'm on this
That's not what we said.
I'm old. I get what I had for breakfast, let alone 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a time difference in Cabo. Would you just say breakfast 20 minutes ago?
No, I said or 20 minutes ago.
Got it. So coming up, what do we got? You're not on any trips with us unless you do Mag Bay. It's the only one I can even see. I moved the dates for you, sir.
I know you got Tiger Beach,
But you're in a different country.
No, I'm going to Roatan right after that. So
Right after.
Yeah,
I thought you were in a different. You were looking for the 6 skills when we were doing around that time. I knew that, and then Isla, you don't care to do.
Talk about
what?
Like going in a submarine, attaching like a horse to a submarine to feed a shark. You know?
Did you just say attaching a horse?
Yeah. Have you not seen the pictures?
Tastes like horse.
No, I have not seen the pictures.
Yeah, this guy.
You're talking about the mammal with 4 legs and a mane.
Yes.
That kind of horse.
Yes, this guy attaches a horse to the submarine, and
is it then a seahorse?
It might be. It would be a deep sea horse.
A deep sea horse, new species.
Yeah.
How deep do you go in the sub?
Hold on, what, Josh?
How deep do you go in the sub? No, I'm clear on the horse. I was just wondering how deep in the sub that you go.
It's 2,000 feet apparently.
You take this poor horse down 2,000 feet?
Yes.
Well, I'm assuming. What does the horse have scuba gear on? Oh, I got you.
So how did the horse die?
I don't know.
I can't get over the fact you're bringing a horse down to feed a shark. Like
I just know, like, if you go on his website and you look at the pictures, there's clear photos. The guy's website.
Who's the guy? I'm working on right now.
I think it's Stanley Submarines. Like, if you Google Roatan submarines, you can pull it up. And you go to expeditions or photos, and it says sharks, and you click on that, 6 gills.
Is there somebody in your house?
No.
I swear to God, I saw somebody walk behind you. Never mind. All right. What's his name? Stanley what?
I think it's Stanley.
I got it. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, you got it? So
Yep.
if you go to where it says photos and go to sharks and go to 6 gills, there is pictures with like the 6 gills with like a whole leg and hoof in its mouth. And there's one picture where you can actually see like the tail of the horse.
Whoa.
Bro, I can't load. What the hell?
That is an entire like rear end of a horse sticking out of the shark's mouth.
Yeah.
What am I looking? So they have 6 gills there, and you take the submarine down, and then they feed this. It literally is holding the horse's head, like when they put it in the guy's bed in The Godfather.
What did you click on? Help me! Help me!
There is there's no help for you.
The caption or the name of the photo is electrocuted _horse_20.
I'm sorry. What? This isn't happening right now.
Wait.
All right.
Shelly, I don't know what am I looking at right now? I didn't understand this.
Did you go to submarine photos?
Go to photos.
Uh-huh.
There'll be sharks, and then you click on the 6 gill tab.
All right. Photos.
Yeah, there's the full horse's tail and then the leg with the hoof.
6 gill sharks. We're making progress. Horse? Come on.
Let's get it, man. I feel like that was just kind of an opportunity. They had a horse, so they figured let's bring it down. Not like, hey, we bring one horse every time we go on this dock.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're right. Like, you know, I'm sure it's one time it's a pig, and like, who knows?
It's a fucking deer.
What?
What the freak is
Not a deer, man. It's a
that one's a deer.
Where?
That one is a deer.
Hold on. I can't.
Wait,
it's
are
pixelated.
there deer on Roatan?
I don't know.
But, you know, I think when you live at 2,000 feet,
that
you're
is a
probably not too
deer.
picky, right?
What? Where's the
I
deer?
can't. Bro, there's
Oh
and
no!
something
I always
else is eating it.
yeah.
Is that a goblin shark with it?
Hold on. There's another. Yeah, the photos captioned dead deer. Oh wait, hang on. Wait, let me just.
We're gonna have to put like an explicit content warning on this. I didn't see us traveling down this goddamn road. When are you doing this?
What?
The very beginning of September. That's the goal. Yeah.
That Ryan, so on that deer, there's some other like animal. It almost is it like a big eel or something?
No, it looks like a frilled shark or a goblin shark.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. That is, I am blown away right now. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Whoa! Whoa! What the freak?
How many people can they fit in the submarine?
2 plus the guy. Yeah. So it's 2 plus the guy who runs it, and it's supposedly like 9 hours that you're in the submarine.
Whoa! Where do you pee?
In a bottle.
I'm just saying, it doesn't look like there's a full size bathroom in that.
Probably not.
That'd be a no. That would be a no. Without looking, that would be a no.
Maybe there's a valve like a dry suit, like it just pees and goes straight.
Is there a horse or was it a deer?
There's
both.
definitely a horse.
There's a horse and a deer.
There's the horse. Oh my god.
Oh, dude, and there's
That's like the mane,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
like draped over the shark like a wig. Like the shark is wearing the horse as a wig. This is not okay.
There's photos on here of there's chimeras, which are really cool. And then there's angular sharks as well.
And it looks like small tooth sand tigers as well.
Exactly. And that looks like the other one. Yeah, absolutely. Small tooth sand tiger. That's crazy.
Now, he did tell me also that he's, like they used to go down and they used to go down and they would have to wait hours and hours for a shark to show up, and that they is doing like a certain spot now. And he said he's actually seen tigers and hammerheads as well. So.
Wow. And this is deep because there's no life on the seafloor. It's just rubble, which is crazy. And all these photos were taken through glass, and they look pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't even know this existed, man. That's super exciting. That's really cool.
Yeah. So
I still
works
get
out.
it.
I think it will. I mean, as long as they bring a horse, I think it'd be okay.
Whoa. I'm going to be in a rabbit hole for a minute. What the?
I thought you knew about this. Like, I thought you were.
You didn't tell me they were eating horses?
I think when you live that deep, I don't know, Josh, maybe you would know more than us, but I don't think you're that picky when you live that.
Horses live that deep?
I'm just saying, I don't think they're that picky. I think they'll eat anything.
Yeah,
Clearly.
there's any opportunity that they. Yeah, man. It's dark down there. It's cold. There's not a lot of food down there. Hunting is not that easy. So anything that you get those aggregation events, when like a dead whale sinks to the bottom and everything around is on it for weeks. It's that type of thing. So that's
Speaking of
cool.
dead whale, so one of my last days in Cabo, I was hanging out with some people, and David, who works for Backscatter and Nautilus, and Evan showed me a video in Socorro. They had a dead whale, a dead humpback. And so a couple people jump in, and there's video of tiger sharks eating this dead whale. And they said that there was like 7 or 8 tigers just eating this dead whale.
That
sounds like a sketchy situation.
Sounds like a fun situation. I wish I was there.
I would have
said, I wish I was there. I said I said it sounded sketchy. It doesn't mean that the 3 of us wouldn't sign up. Let's sign us up.
Yeah.
Oh.
They also said that very interestingly, there was they had a static mom and calf, literally just sitting right in front of them for quite some time. and they said they identified the mom, and it was the same mom that had a couple years back had a calf that was killed by orcas.
Oh.
And a couple years before that, she was there with a different calf. And then a couple years ago, she had the one killed with orcas, and she was the one that was like seen like still with her dead calf or whatever.
Not supposed to happen.
Yeah. And
It wasn't
then,
the right.
but the
It was a super
news
deep,
is,
like, sentimental moment. I did not mean that.
But the good news is that she has a new calf now. So,
yeah, but she sounds like a pretty shitty mom.
It's a bold statement.
No, she's been seen 3 times, like just chilling at this like one spot in Socorro, and it was a couple years ago. She had one that was killed by orcas.
Got it. I thought you were saying it happened again.
No.
I thought that was, I'm like, damn. She just
She doesn't have an arrangement with the orcas.
figure something out. I gotta stop killing kids. Oh man, I got the blue shark photo you sent me, by the way.
Oh yeah, that was the one day that we had like the 4 or 5 of them, right? And I've been so busy, I haven't really had much of a chance to edit much.
Oh, you're busy shark diving.
Yeah, I was. And then even since being home, even since being home, just being busy. So, I think I have a couple photos with Scott and with you, Josh, and a couple others, but I just haven't had much of a chance to do a whole lot of editing. So,
busy poking people.
yeah.
Know how it goes.
Latex lube and penetration.
Yeah.
3 tenets of tattoo.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, hey, tattoo life, shark life, they're not far off when it comes to the language being lost in conversation. I always say, like, if somebody listens to a dive conversation from the outside looking in, they'd be like, what is wrong with these people? Like, some of the shit we say.
The one that I talk about sometimes is, you get your gear all set up and then you say, all right, cool, we're done with the dive. We can break down on our way back in. And everyone goes, you're going to have a breakdown on the way back in? No, just take your gear.
Breakdown, yeah. Oh, I got
Messick.
Was it written on the floor? What are you doing?
Some of this new, I don't know what it was from. I had a guest, and you know how, like, especially for newer guests, we'll use a line, and you have them float and get their butt up. And this person came out with, like, the same verbiage as us. Like, could hold their own, like, saying curse words here and there, whatever. Like, you knew that this person had a thick skin. So I'm sitting there, and they're, like, dropping their feet, trying to kick the stand. I'm like, listen, just lay flat, get your ass up. And they heard me say, get your ass up. And they started climbing back on the boat. And I was like, what are you doing? They're like, you said get your ass up. And I was like, no, I meant literally get your ass up, not get on the boat.
Well,
so that was one of the more recent ones I've had where the terminology backfired on me. And I probably could have had a better choice of words. But it was what it was.
I knew what you meant.
It's funny because in Cabo, it's like the opposite, right? Like, the 3 of us, we have big cameras, right? So if a shark comes at us, we can use the camera as a shield. We can deflect it. We can redirect it with our cameras, right? But all the guys that don't have big cameras, well, they tell them to, like, put your fin out, use your fin as a barrier, right? If it bumps your fin or whatever. And there was one day, Evans had me be a safety. And there was this guy at the end of the line, and so they have like the line and then the float, and there's like another line that goes to the crate. Well, this guy was like just creeping closer and closer to the crate, making me nervous. And the blue shark we had was just erratic and a crackhead. And at one point, this blue shark is just coming straight at him. He's got his GoPro, and he's just like staring at it. And like, you could tell when he's totally not going to put his leg up, and he's just going to stare at this thing. And so I'm swimming my butt off, and I get over there, and I just, a couple feet in front, I intercept the shark. We get back on the boat, and he's like, man, and he's so excited. He's like, I got this sick video. It's coming right at me, and you just intercepted at the last second, He's like, but I wasn't afraid because I was bigger than it. And I'm like,
that's not how this works.
That shark doesn't care. And this is like where my filter wasn't there. And I was like, that shark doesn't care if you're bigger. It would have just bitten you just because. Like, it's probably never seen a human before. And his eyes get real big, and he's like, oh.
I absolutely love blue shark for that reason. They're so cute and deceiving, but you can see when they swim up, they stop right in front, and they're like, next.
Yeah.
Like you can see it. You can definitely see it in a blue shark's behavior.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll wrap it up here. I notice what time it is. It is past my bedtime. But last couple notes. We haven't really dove into, like, why. We did a little bit in the interview. You were sleeping, Josh, when we started talking about...
Makes sense.
I was actually talking to Shelly that time. I got the interview with you, but it is normally you sleeping.
Ordinarily.
It is normally. I'll go last then. I'll let one of you start. Whoever, unless you need to formulate an answer, we're going to sit here staring at each other. Why is the shark life so important to you?
I'll take that one first if you want. Yeah, so I said it in my interview when we were smashing in the van on the way to the pause. Watching the van.
2022, you can't say smashing.
But for me, it's definitely...
Remember, Jeff didn't know what that meant, so...
Poor guy.
I think he asked me like 15 times in Cabo, like, what was that word you guys were using again?
Smash it. Yeah. That's what the kids are saying these days. But what was the question again? Sorry, I forgot.
And I muted it for a second because of the bird. Oh, at least I found the mute button. All right. So, back to the serious moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What does the shark life... God damn it, Coco. Ready? What does the shark life mean to us? Ready? Go.
Gotcha. Yeah, so for me, it's pretty simple. The shark life means a sense of community that I've never had or felt anywhere else. So the group is all of my closest friends doing the things that we love most. So it's the only place that I can go to escape and kind of get away from everything, where everyone is always happy and they're always excited about what's going on. And I think we don't bring any of the other stress or issues or problems from our lives. We just show up and we're happy and we go shark diving. So it's that kind of ocean therapy for me, plus the sharks that I love so much, plus you guys, which is that's all I could ever need when I was spending a day out, so that's what it is for me.
I'll go last. I feel like I'll pull what's it called, the interlude. I'll be the interlude real quick in between two. But I feel like a lot of the baseline for a lot of us is the escape and community factor with little pieces that like add in or up to. But yeah, Shelly, your turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said, Josh, is pretty good, right? Like the escape, like it can be your life. There can be so many stressful factors, but when you're surrounded by 5 blue sharks or a mako shark or 6 tiger sharks, like you really don't have time to think about, oh my God, gas prices are so outrageous right now, right? So that kind of stuff just kind of goes away. And for me, like ever since diving with sharks, like it's been the some of the best moments in life have really happened. Like just you're chasing one shark, you're going on one adventure, and it leads to something else. And it's just created like some of the best memories I have. So.
And it leads to you taking a submarine ride with a dead horse. Great. I never thought I'd ever hear something like that. It's crazy. It's awesome.
Game face back on if you keep bringing up this damn horse. I'm
still a little shook by the horse. Man.
Oh, man.
I bet you never thought you'd see a shark wearing a wig, right?
The tail.
That I didn't Photoshop.
That didn't even cross my mind. Those were real as all.
Yeah. Did it eat the hook?
Yeah. So talk about. I can't. I need to focus right now. This horse is fucking me up. All right. I mean, I've talked about it a lot on socials, but for the podcast, well, like you said, you talked about it in the last episode series we've been working on. I say it a lot, like, shark diving saves me in the therapy aspect of what you just said. Like, there's a disconnect from the rest of the world as soon as I hit the water. Even talking to people about it, because they are so misunderstood. And there's such a message to be delivered from the top down, no matter what somebody knows about sharks. There's something that we potentially know that can be delivered, especially in a way that can be positive for sharks. So for me, it's such an intricate lifestyle from running the company, which I bang my head against a wall for, so there's the work side, to being out there, talking to people, watching fear turn into fascination, and then it's the moments when I get in the water and, like you said, you're surrounded by X amount of sharks. I don't care what species it is, but everything else has to go away because they're sharks. And I tell people all the time, like, oh, why do you love Cabo? Well, because mako and blue sharks remind me that I'm human. I kind of refer to our sharks as Disneyland sometimes because of their behavior compared to those pelagics that have never seen a human before. So for me, it's super intricate. It's the disconnect from the real world. It's what that provides mentally for me as an escape. So we've hit that. And then it is the sense of community and brotherhood and things like that. And then I'll cover one more. It's the challenge. And it's what feeds the three of us and that fun competition amongst us. Oh, more species that obviously, if you put Josh, Raia, and I together, we have more than Josh Schellenberg, so that's all that really matters. But anyways, you can put ours together, I think, but don't start that.
It might be really close.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Together, we have to have. If you add ours together, it has to be the same or more than yours. But to me, there you go. So between the mental aspect of therapy, the mental health, the sense of community, and then the challenge of getting new species, getting the shot. Like, I sent a couple pictures today to American Shark Conservancy of black-nose and dusky shots. And I went back and looked for my black-nose and dusky shots, and I'm like, these suck compared to my other shots. Like, those are hard sharks to photograph. And I'm sitting there, like, and I'm harder on myself than I should be. Like, they're decent photos, and especially enough for them to catalog, and they're good enough. But I look at them now, and I'm like, man, I would have done this, or this, but this animal, especially the dusky, the black nose sharks, black tip sharks, those are extremely difficult sharks to photograph. So there's the challenge side for us, too, with our adaptation to the shark life, being as comfortable as we are, being able to then seek those challenges with these species and get these different photos that a lot of people don't have. A lot of different species. A lot of boats say, oh, we don't see duskies like that. Okay, we do, but we still fight for that photo because of the animal's behavior. So I think a lot of it to me is the constant challenge. There's always a new goal to set, And as somebody who's naturally competitive to this day, old man trying to play flag football, I'm a natural athlete in that aspect. I'm always going to be competitive, whether I'm at 18 sharks from my end now. I'm at 18, right? 18 or 35, 36, or if I'm 36 sharks behind you, it's still fun because there's competition. There's still more I can do. And as long as I'm able to swim and fire this finger on the shutter, then there's still more for us to do. So, yeah, I think the SharkLife is an intricate system that keeps my mind moving in a positive way, that has a sense of community, a sense of accomplishment, and a sense of therapy all rolled into one. So I guess that's the best way to sum up the SharkLife. That's basically the three of us in a nutshell.
All about it.
What are you at? 35 or 36? 35.
I think it's 34. I have to double check. I have them all written down, but I think it's 34.
Trying to get away with one. And you're at 17, Josh.
I'm at 20.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
What? Did you make off the shark? How?
No, I've been at.
We're going to text about this. Or at 20. I'm at 18. How are you at 20?
Wasn't he always?
I've always had two more than you.
What?
I've always had two more than you. Yeah, dude, we've been over this like a million times.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I might be in denial about. No.
Yeah, because I've got three sharks that you don't have, and you've got one that I don't have. So I haven't seen a smooth hammerhead, and then I have the angel shark, smooth and spiny dogfish.
You got white tip reef shark?
That's me. No.
That's
yeah. I've always had two more.
But if I just got white tip reef shark and you didn't, then you shouldn't have two more.
How many did you have?
18.
Well, he had 17 before the white tip reef shark.
Yeah, white tip reef
so
shark
I put you at
18 species.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
So you had three more than me before 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I have an angel shark, smooth dogfish, and spiny. You don't have any of those, right?
No. And then it's smooth and white tip reef, though.
So technically,
that's
you have one more.
Yeah. We need to figure this out after. We're texting each other on damn lists after this. You got me.
Yeah, I have it. I have 20. Because my 20th shark was the Mexican horn shark.
I remember that.
Yeah, because for you, Mexican horn shark was number 17 for you, and now you have the white tip, which will make it 18.
I can't add or spell?
Nope.
Apparently not. Sorry.
Oh, man.
The challenge is getting photos of all the species you take, and good ones, right? Like, I have a couple species where it's like the epaulette, it's in a hole. You can tell it's an epaulette, but it's not like, you don't see the face of it, which kind of sucks. And I would love to have a tooth from every species I've swam with, but there's some that haven't really cooperated. But
we'll cover that in another episode. Some of the tooth. We got plenty we can go on about. But there we go. That's it for tonight. We're gonna dance on out of here. Josh, thank you for joining us. We'll have you on more than other special guests. You'll be a regular guest. We'll have special guests and regular guests. You'll be a regular guest. And we'll have to figure out what trip you're coming on. We got to do Cabo Pulmo, get the jacks, get the photos of Josh Raia skinny dipping within the tornado jacks and post those up on his own.
Can't wait. Looking forward to that for years.
And October is October, November is like the best time when Viz is good for that.
Yeah.
And the water's warm.
So we're going to do Cabo Pulmo, and then the sea lions in the Paz, the Mobile night dive, and then the 3 days in Mag Bay. So we'll figure it out.
Great.
You're coming with us. Never mind. It's not an option. All right, that's it. Not giving you choices.
The only hang up I have is
hold on, I said we're out of here. What? What?
This is the trip in October I have.
You do what you have in October. It's the end of November into December. Don't be a pussy. We're done. All right. Is that it?
I guess so. Boys, nice one.
Oh, that's fun. Good times. All right. I will see you guys in a couple weeks. See, we got a lot to talk about. We got the exploratory trip coming up. We got Sharks at Dark. All right. Let's hit this corny ass music before we keep talking, and that segues into our next podcast.